Hi and welcome, I am Helle, and today I'm going to take a look at Gnome Kingdom. This is a game for 2 to 5 players. It takes about 30 to 60 minutes to play and is for the ages 12 plus. And in this game we are gnomes. We are all trying to compete to be the new king or queen. So we are all clan leaders and we need to compete against the others to see if we can be worthy enough to be the new king or queen. At the start of this game, each player they're going to choose one of the clan leaders. So you can be Gerda, you can be Sven, you can be Torkild, Baldur, or you can be Astrid. And each of the clan leaders, they are especially good at their own color. So each of them, they have their own unique color. And for Gerda it's yellow and for Sven it's blue. And in this game it's kind of a race in the forest to see if we can find the crown. We have a special crown tile in here. When that one is found, then the game is going to end, and the one that finds it will get a little bit extra reward. But in this game you need to collect points, and the way you get points is by buying these cards. And on these cards, you have a requirement up here, and then you have how many victory points it is going to be worth, and then you have an ability you're going to gain, which you can use one time per game. This card here, you need a red die, you need a die with a value of 5, and then you need a die of your own clan color. This, when you have this flag, then it indicates one of these flags. So for Sven, he would need a blue die, and for Gerda, she would need a yellow die. So this one would cost 3 dice to purchase. And this one would only be 1 die, and all of these are only 1 die. You have a lot of different cards. Each time you buy a card, you're going to replace the card with a new card. And in this game, players, they're going to take turns, and you are going to try to fulfill tasks you have on these. And let me just take you through a round here with Sven. It is Sven's turn. Sven is the start player. The start player has a die out here with the color. Then we have a common market, and then we have the current dice pool. We are with this one. We at the moment we can have 2 dice from the dice pool. You can at any time take 2 of your resources and exchange it for another resource, and then you have, if you have 5 resources, you can spend them all to take an extra turn. And in this setup, each player, they have had 2 turns so far. And on the board here, each of these, they have these tokens you can collect. You can use them to manipulate the die. So with the blue here, you can add, if you give up one of these tokens, you can add plus or minus 1 to a die value. And here you can gain 1 extra die from out here and roll when you have to roll dice. And then you need to give 1 up at the end. And then on this one, you can re-roll 1 die up to 3 times. With this one, you can exchange a die you have with the market up here. Or you can exchange with another player that is ahead of you on the track. And this one, if you use this one, you can exchange a die to another color with the common market. So in that way you can manipulate the dice, because the task you have in this game is you have to fulfill these tasks you have. And with the blue player, they need to have 1 die with the value 2 or 5. And the active player, they're going to get this one, and then you are looking at this one. There's only 1 die, so you can select 1 more, because there's going to be 2 dice in the die pool. So they can select a color. You're going to look out here, and you're going to look for your task. They just need a number 2 or a number 5. And it's always good to have your own color. So they're going to take the blue, because Sven is the blue player. So he's going to roll the dice. 2, 2. So he did fulfill the task with either of these 2. And when you fulfill a task, when you succeed, then you get to advance and go up. And if there aren't any tile, or you want to go to a site where there aren't any, you're going to draw from the pile. And you're going to keep on playing until we find the crown. So he's going to grab one of these. And when you have this one on, you're going to advance the die pool out here. So we're going to advance it one space up. This means from now on there are going to be 3 dice in the common dice pool. So he can place it either here or here. And I think he's going to place it on this side. I think this one, by the way, on this one you need 3 dice and they have to have the value 1, 3 or 5 in any combination. It could be in any combination and it doesn't matter which color they have. Then he's going to advance up on this space and he can, at the resource, the space he enters, he's going to get that resource. And I think he might want a yellow one, so he can re-roll a die later on. So he's going to grab one of these and place on his board, and then he can take one of the dice. Both of them fulfilled the task. You can only choose from the die that have that you used to fulfill the task. So if this one had been a 6, then he had to take the red one. But I think he's just going to take the blue, since that is his color. And he could buy this card in, because this just requires your own. But I think he's going to save it to see if he could get enough to maybe build that one later on, because that has 6 victory points on it, but this only has 2. That is the end of his turn. Then this one is going to go to the other player. They are then going to draft. So they have 3 dice, because now it's 3 dice. And they're going to look at where they are. This one here, this one, they need 2 dice. And they have to be their own color. So they need 2 dice with a value 1 or 2. So they are going to grab 2 yellow dice, because they need yellow dice to fulfill this one. They can also look at what they have here. They could use this one. With this one, they can roll, take 1 more die to roll. And I think they're going to give up this one, so they can get 1 more yellow die, because they need a 1 and a 2. And they're going to roll the dice. Oh, they got it. They actually fulfilled this task here. They needed a 1 and a 2 with their own color. So they can grab one of these 2 dice. They are just going to grab the number 1. They have to, when you use the green, you have to place 1 die back in the common pool. And I think they're just going to place the red one back in the common pool. Then they're going to advance up here. They can't go to that one because they are not adjacent to it. So they're going to grab this one. And this is a number 3. We have tiles that have a number 1, number 2, and a number 3. And this higher the number they have, this deeper in the forest you're going, and this more difficult the tasks they are going to be. This one needs 5 dice, and they all have to come in a row. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 2 to 6. It doesn't matter the color of the dice. So we can place it here, or we can place it here. And I think they will definitely place it here, so they can get over to this tile if they want to instead. They're going to advance. They are going to, I think they will go, they need a lot of dice, so they will go to the green space here and grab a green resource. Then they can buy one of those out there. And I think they're just going to use their yellow die to purchase this one of their own clan color. This would be worth 2 points, and then they can gain 2 extra resources. And then this one will go to the other player, and they will then draw a die, and then you're going to play in the same way. And you're going to do this until you find and you always, when you buy a card, you have to fill in with a new card. And if this had been one we could have bought it now. If, for example, it had been like this, then you could have bought it because you just needed a red die and then one of your own clan color. So there are some of the cards that only have, they have 2. For example, this one. If it had been this one, then you could have bought this one. It would have been worth 5 points, and you could exchange 2 of our resources to 2 other resources. And this is a race to see if we can find the crown. In this stack, we have the crown here. When this one is revealed, the player that reveals it will get to keep an extra die, plus they will gain 2 resources of their choice. And then they would be able to buy cards out here. And everybody would get a turn so all players have had the same amount of turns. So if it was a blue player, then all other players would get one more turn. And then when you had found the crown and everyone have had the same amount of turns, you're going to look at all the cards you have with the crown, and the player with the most points will then win the game. But that is roughly an overview of this game, how this is played. And you have more of these number 3 tiles at the start of the game. You're going to set up this deck, you're going to shuffle them, and then randomly get some of these into the game. And there are lots of different tasks on them. And of course the number 3, they are a lot more difficult than the number 2 tasks. And again, the number 1 tasks, they are a lot easier than the number 3 task. Or the number 2 task and the number 3 task. Because you need fewer dice to fulfill these. But that is how this game works. You're going to at the start of your turn, you're going to draft dice, so you have the same amount as that is allowed for this round. You're going to roll them, and you may only roll the dice once, but you can use these to manipulate the dice, or even to get more dice in your roll if you have the green ones. And then you can, with the blue, you can manipulate them. And Sven, he can do it even better. He can do it with ±1 of 2, so he could change this one to a number 4. And you can also change them to buy cards out here. So you can change your own dice here, and you can change the dice here to fulfill these tasks. That's one thing I haven't talked about. If you fail, if there is a task that you can't do, for example, when they have to do 5 and they have to have them in a row the next time, they might fail it. Most likely they will not get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they also need 5 dice. So at the moment they could only get 3, they could get 1 here. Then they would have 4 dice, and that wouldn't be enough to fulfill that one. So they would fail in the next turn. When you fail, you're not going to get a new die, but you're going to get the resources where you're at, or you can move to an adjacent space. So you could move over to this if there is a free space here. So he could move over here, and then they would gain one of each of the resources. So if you failed, if for example the next time it was the yellow player's turn and they had the 3 dice to roll with, they can't complete this one, so they would fail. Then they would move. They could either take these 3 resources and stay at this space, or they can move to an adjacent space. And if they move over here, then they're going to stay at one of the spaces, and they would get the 3 resources. So they could get a yellow, a blue, and then the berry, and which they can place on their board. So on the next turn, they're going to have more things they can use to help them manipulate the dice to get the values that they need. And this time it would be easier than going up on this track here. That is the way the game flows. And again, at the end of the game, the player that has the most points is going to be the winner. So you're racing in the forest, you're competing, you're trying to fulfill these different quests there are. You're going to buy cards, you're going to get abilities that you can use to help you. And when you use an ability, if for example we wanted to get more dice to roll with or something, we could exchange 2 of our resources, and then we could grab 2 of the green, for example. And when you have used it, you're going to flip it to the other side. And that is how this game works. And I think this is a game that is very easy to teach. It's easy to teach the rules for the game. You have to play a little bit, and then I think you're going to understand these icons when you play them, because you need to understand them to easily understand what these different things they mean. So if I have these colors, then it means any colored die, and you need to have the same numbers. So you need to have 2 dice of the same color and the same number with this one. You have an equal to. And all these you have a quick reference on the back of the rules. And here all of these are explained. And also the setup, how you're going to set up the tiles. And then you have on a player's turn what you can do. So you have a quick reference here. And the rules for this game, they are really well written. All of these tiles, they have a little number at the bottom. At the bottom they have a little number. And each of the tiles, you can look them up in the rules for the number, and then you can see they are explained what they do. And also these different you have on the cards, they are explained on this one. So I think these rules are really well written, and there are lots of examples on them, and also for the different clan resources, and there are lots of examples in the rules. So easy to read and understand the rules, and easy to teach this game. So I think this is a family-friendly game. It is a game with luck in it, because you do have the dice rolling. Even though you have things you can use to manipulate them, then it is a game with dice where you have some kind of luck element in it. But you also have strategy when you play, because you have strategy in which dice you're going to choose for the dice pool, and you're always going to look at what you need to fulfill, but you're also going to look at the market here, because you might want a red die so you can fulfill one of these three to at the market. So you're going to look at different things when you need to grab dice from the dice pool. And if you don't fulfill, if you do not succeed, then you're going to gain 3 resources that can help you on your next turn. And you get the chance to move to a better space if you think it's easier to fulfill a task on the other side. Maybe not on this one, because that is a tough one. So I think this is a fun little quick game, and you are engaged in the game, I think, and trying to fulfill your different tasks and getting the cards and hoping that other players, they do not grab the card that you want to get, because you're starting to get the resources for them. So I think this is a good little family game, and I like the art they have made on these little gnomes. They are cute, the gnomes. And then these forest tiles, they look really nice. The cards, they have a nice good quality, and these are good thick cardboard too, so I think that is great. And then you have all these nice little wooden dice. They are fine, I think. And this game is to the easiest side, I think. It's not a super hard game, but it's not super easy too. So it's a light, medium light game, I think. And but it's a game that is easy to teach and easy to set up to the table and play. And then it's time for my rating of this game. And I'm going to rate it with my pink monsters. We're going from 0 to 5. If you get the 3 pink monsters, then it's a good game. If you get less, then yeah, it's not that good. But if you get more, then it's really, really great. And this game, I will give this one 3 pink monsters. I think this is a good, decent game and a good little family game. But that was my look at Gnome Kingdom. Thanks for watching.